Hello friends, welcome. My name is Yelena and this is a book chat. I have found myself in the predicament where all my library holds have come in simultaneously. So, what joy! Let's read and let's talk about it. I've just finished 2 books and I want to chat with you. The first book, The Great Believers by Rebecca Makkai. I didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. This book is essentially about the AIDS crisis that is devastating 1980s Chicago. And it follows a list of characters, but there are 2 main characters, Yale and Fiona. And so we're transported from the 80s to 2015, where we're following Fiona as she is now searching for her long-lost daughter who had joined a cult back in the day. Fiona is now, in her 50s. She's a grandmother. So what the book does really well is capture the tone, the setting, and the relationships of these characters in the 80s as they are, some of them have to come to the hard terms of, I may have AIDS, right? I might not make it. So there's this sort of wait and see tension, the palpability of the fear, as some people are essentially asking themselves, am I next? This book also has some references to art. It follows that trail of art and art involvement of the time. So I think that's an interesting stream. But I think my issue is with the 2015 story of Fiona. She is such an interesting character. She essentially had to mother her brother, who ends up dying from AIDS at the beginning of the story. We are attending his funeral after party. She's had to mother him. She's mothered a lot of his friends. And now she is coming to terms with herself as a mother. And what does that mean? What does that mean as an identity? Who is she now in the grand scheme of things? I almost wish there was less plot development of will she find Claire, and more of Fiona coming to terms and asking herself these questions and just the inner cogitation. Because I did find that thread fascinating. But an interesting read. I'm glad I read it. The next book that I finished this past weekend is You Know Her by Meagan Jennett. I was so excited to read this, but womp womp. This book was so underwhelming and quite a disappointment. The author herself is from Crozet, Virginia. This is her debut book, but Crozet, Virginia is just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes where I grew up. And then the Lit Hub blurb is Killing Eve meets Sharp Objects in this lush, savage Southern Gothic thriller about 2 women, a fledgling murderer and the cop hell-bent on catching her. So, right, there's a little bit of this setup of a chase. These 2 women that are living in, the Blue Ridge, Virginia. They're surrounded of communities that are Vineyard Vines wearing, Vera Bradley toting, whiskey sours, Fox Fields, hoity-toity white communities. And these characters, they both don't fit in. But what was so underwhelming is that some of the language here, the dialogue, was just a little too on the nose for me. It was too general. For example, Nora is a mixed race, young female cop hoping to make detective. Again, her everyday evolves around the Good Boys Club, and she is terrified of being identified solely as the diversity hire. Well, the author writes all that, and I'm like, Meagan, Show me. Show me. Don't tell me that. Don't put it on paper. As a reader, I want to see that. I want to dance myself, like in my mind, with the mechanisms of what's going on. What are these women thinking? Like their inner thoughts, the manifestations of their like childhoods, identities, the nature nurture concept. What allows someone to become so violent, for example? There were so many opportunities in this book, and I felt like each one was just not met. So the hype for this, expectations just of course led me to be even more so disappointed. So that being said, hopefully she'll write something else and maybe it'll be a little bit more tightly edited. But that's that. I think the next book I'm gonna read is At Night, All Blood is Black by David Diop. Okay, I think this was written in French, translated by Anna Moskavakis. I love world lit, so I'm really excited to give this a go. Book club pick, Octavia Butler's Dawn. I have never read any Octavia Butler. I know. So I'm really excited. I hope I love this and I get to read more of her work. Next, How Much of These Hills is Gold by C. Pam Zhang. The Garden of Evening Mists by Tan Tuan Eng. This was a winner of the Man Asian Literary Prize and a finalist for the Man Booker Prize. And then Don't Come For Me, Booktube, but Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano, an Oprah's book club pick. Okay, I understand that the commercialization, the celebrity book lists are frowned upon, okay? But one thing I will say is I have discovered some writers that I may have never come across from Oprah's list, okay? In high school, I read Fall on Your Knees by Canadian author and playwright Anne Marie MacDonald. I was riveted. That book is astounding. It shook me to the very core. Honestly, if I can think of any book, like the core, like my soul, I could feel it extend. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful read. And so, thanks, Oprah. But I recently just got out of a reading slump, and the biography of X by Catherine Lacey helped me get out of it. So I'm really hoping that May's reading month looks up, because it's a long one. But I just wanted to say thanks for joining me and chatting with me, and keep reading.